Hey, welcome! If you're just starting out with programming, you're doing something really cool. You're not just learning a new language, you're basically learning magic, a way to talk to your computer and get it to do whatever you want. And today, we're handing you your very first magic wand, the Python language. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the journey we're about to go on. At first, yeah, some of this stuff might seem a little small, maybe even tedious, but trust me, these are the fundamental building blocks that, once you get the hang of them, will let you do some truly incredible things. So let's go ahead and open our digital grimoire, our book of spells. First, we're going to get you your magic wand. Then we'll learn some basic spells and the ingredients you need for them. After that, we'll figure out how to store your results. And finally, we'll put it all together to write your first complete spell. Every wizard needs a safe place to practice, right? For us, that's going to be the interactive shell. Just think of it as your own personal training dojo, a place where you can try out little commands one at a time and see what happens instantly. Now, this training ground has a technical name, a REPL. That stands for Read, Evaluate, Print Loop. And it's this really simple but super powerful cycle. It reads your command, it evaluates what you typed, it prints the result right back to you, and then it loops around, ready for your next command. That immediate feedback is what makes it the perfect place to experiment without worrying about breaking anything. All right, so you've got your wand, the interactive shell. Now you need the words of power. In Python, the most basic spells are called expressions, and they're all made of two key things, values and operators. So what is an expression? Well, at its core, it's just any instruction that Python can boil down to one single value. The classic example is 2 plus 2. Python sees that, evaluates it, and reduces it all down to the single value 4. This is the fundamental building block of everything else we're going to do. Seriously, all the complex programs in the world are just made up of a bunch of these expressions. So let's break that down even more. In 2 plus 2, the 2's are our values. They're the raw magical ingredients. The plus sign, that's the operator. It's the action, the verb, the part of the spell that tells Python what to do with the ingredients. And Python gives us a whole bunch of these operators to work with. You've got your basics, like addition and subtraction, of course, but then there's some cool stuff, like the double asterisk for exponents. And notice we actually have 3 kinds of division. The single slash is normal division, the double slash gives you just the whole number and throws away the decimal, and that percent sign, the modulus, that one's really neat. It gives you only the remainder. It's way more useful than you might think. Okay, before we go any further, I have to tell you something. Something super important. You are going to mess up your spells. A lot. And when you do, Python's going to yell at you with an error message. And you know what? That is not just okay, it's a critical, totally unavoidable part of learning to code. So just remember this, seeing an error or even crashing a program is not going to damage your computer. I promise. An error is just feedback. It's the computer's way of saying, hey, I didn't quite understand that. Every professional programmer on the planet sees errors every single day, so don't fear them. They're how we learn. A good wizard has to know their ingredients, right? You can't just throw a phoenix feather into a potion that calls for dragon scales. It's the same in Python. We need to understand our ingredients, and our ingredients are different types of data. For now, we're just going to focus on the big 3. First, we have integers, or int for short. These are just whole numbers. Then we have floats, which are numbers with a decimal point. And finally, we have strings, or str, and that's just text. Now, here's the most important rule of all. Strings are always wrapped in quotes. That's how Python knows you mean the word hello and you're not trying to run a command named hello. And this is a perfect example of why knowing your data types is so critical. Check this out. The plus and star operators do completely different things depending on the ingredients. If you give them numbers, they add multiply. But if you give them strings, the plus sign smushes them together. We call that concatenation. And the star operator repeats the string over and over. Same spell, different ingredients, totally different outcome. Okay, so you've cast a spell, you've calculated a result. Awesome, but what now? What if you need to use that number again later? You can't just keep it in your head. You need a place to store it. And in programming, we do that with variables. The easiest way to think about a variable is like a box in the computer's memory. Personally, I love the magic pouch idea. You give the pouch a name, you stick a value inside it, and then anytime you need that value, you just call out the pouch's name. And the spell for putting something in the pouch is called an assignment statement. It's got 3 parts. You've got the variable name on the left, a single equals sign in the middle, that's the assignment operator, and the value you want to store on the right. So when you type this, you're literally telling Python, hey, take the number 20 and store it in a variable I'm calling my_age. Now, you've got a lot of freedom when it comes to naming these things, but there are a few key rules. The big ones are no spaces, you can't start the name with a number, and you can't use weird special characters. Just stick to letters, numbers, and the underscore, and you'll be golden.
All right, we've got our training ground, our basic spells, our ingredients, and a way to store them. We have everything we need. It is time to put it all together and go from casting single little commands to writing our very first complete, multi-line spell, a full program.
Take a look at this. It might look like a lot, but it's pretty simple. It starts by just printing some greetings to the screen. Then this input function makes the program pause and wait for you to type something. Whatever you type gets stored in that my name variable. Then it does the same thing for your age. Finally, it does a couple of quick calculations and prints out the results. Let's break down the key parts that make this all work. You know, when you boil it down, this program, and honestly a ton of programs, follows a really simple pattern. Step 1, you get some input from the outside world using input function. Step 2, you show some output back to the world using print function. And step 3, you transform your ingredients. You change data from one type to another using functions like len, string, and int. Think of print and input as your main ways of communicating. Print is your loudspeaker. It's how your program talks to the user. Input is your microphone. It's how your program stops and listens to what the user has to say. Okay, this next part is absolutely crucial to understand. The input function always gives you back a string of text. Even if the user types the number 20, your program gets the text characters 2 and 0. So to do math with that age, we first have to use the int function to turn that text into a real number. Then after we add 1 to it, we have to use the string function to turn it back into text so we can print it out alongside other words. It's all about having the right ingredient for the right part of the spell. And that's it. You did it. You wrote a program that actually talked to a user, took their input, did something with it, and produced a custom result. You've officially woven simple commands into your first complex spell. Congratulations! So look, you've cast your first spell. You've made the computer listen and respond to you. The question now is, what's next? What happens when you want your spells to make decisions? To do one thing if the user says yes, and something totally different if they say no? Well, that's the next step in your training, learning to control the flow of your program. But for now, just think, what kind of magic will you create?